Hello ladies and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Sunny, your host, and in this tutorial we are going to explore AsyncIO programming or asynchronous input-output programming. So for that there is a library in Python. It's a standard library. You don't need to install it separately. That is called as AsyncIO. It can help you to give up speed to the execution of the code. But in certain cases, it's not necessary that okay, in all the cases it will be helpful. Okay, in certain cases. So we will see the basics of that in this particular tutorial. Before we jump into that, right? So let's first of all understand what asynchronous programming is. So it's nothing but it's a programming paradigm that allows us to write like non-blocking concurrent code that can run multiple tasks at once without blocking other tasks. That means if there are tasks which are like independent to each other, and you can run them concurrently or parallelly. Okay, so that's what async IO comes in, and it will help you to achieve that. So in order to prove my point, what I'm going to do here is I am writing both like synchronous way of programming, that means sequential way, and the asynchronous way. And I have taken one example there. I have some bunch of 8 images. I will be downloading it automatically using Python from Pixels. So I will show you both the ways and I will compare their speed as well at the end of this demo. So that's all going to be in this particular video. Okay, so let's get started now. Okay, guys, so before we jump into the programming section or the demo part, so let's first of all understand that what is this async IO is for. So I will show you with this diagram. As you can see on the screen, that we have this task 1, task 2, and task 3. And the first example is of synchronous way, or you can call it as maybe in this case sequential programming, where what is happening is that once the task 1 starts, okay, let's say at t is equals to some maybe some t is equals to, let's say t1 it is starting, then it is ending at t1 prime, then and so on. So here t2 and so on and t3. So here you will see that there is a waiting time involved here, right? There is a waiting time here. So this type of programming is like synchronous. That means like once the task 1 is going to end here, then only we will start the task 2, and then once task 2 finishes, then only we will go to the task 3. So this is good again in case, let's say, if task 2 is totally dependent upon the outcome of task 1. So in this case, this program is totally fine. There is no issue. But let's say task 1, task 2, and task 3, if they are independent, like for example, in our case, which we will see in this demo, that is about downloading photos. So downloading photos does not depend upon each other, right? In this example. So in that case, why not? Why to wait for the finishing of the task 1 and then go to the task 2? So in that way, we can make use of asynchronous input output library, and we can go the way asynchronous way. So what we are doing here is we are utilizing this like processors and the like effectively we are utilizing our time as well here. So what we are doing is we will start here with the task t1, and then so till it gets finishes, let's do the task 2. So we will wait for this like instead of waiting entirely to finish the task 1, we will simply start the task 2. And once this it finishes, so we will write the response. Okay, we will save the response, and then we will continue our work. So in this way you can see that instead of waiting the task 1 to finish, we can simply jump to task 2. And once task 1 finishes, so yes, we will look into that, we will store the files, and then till then we will continue with the task 2. So in that way you can see we can accommodate a lot of parallel processing here, right? So in this way it will take, obviously you can see both the diagrams. We will, this synchronous asynchronous programming or asynchronous way will shorten the time, right? So same thing, same demo we will see in this example. Okay, in the demo. So let's get started with the demo. Okay, so now the theory part is clear, so let's get started with the project. So here I am on my GitHub, and I will create one new repository here. Okay, and I will choose a base template. I think I have talked template for like multiple times. Okay, where like you don't have to start everything from scratch. You can keep some files that you always start with into one of the repository, and you can make that as a template repository. And this template is also public, so you guys can also directly use it if you want. Okay, I will put the link into the description. Now here I will make the name, so it's an async IO demo. Okay, and Same thing, I will put it here as well, and let's make it public only, and that's it. So in this way, I will create a repository which will have some bunch of files that I always need. Okay, in the same way you can create as well. So you can, if I just go to this link, you can see here we have this is written. So let me open that link as well. So in this link, if you see, this is what the basic things that is in most of the project is required to get started. So like git ignore, readme, and then set up a script file which will help you to create an environment as well as install the requirements. Okay, so this is generally we like almost we have it all in all of the projects. So this template you can use it as well, it's a public one. Now so here we are on this repository that we are going to work on. So now one thing is that if you want to make any changes into it, so you can clone it locally and then start working on it. But to there's another alternative as well, and that is if you click on this code button here, and you will see that it says create code space on main. So we can create an code space on main repository, which is nothing but it's a cloud-based container, you can say, where this your project will be cloned and this VS Code will be open, and where you can work on, right? So it is getting initialized. So till then, what we can do is we can go to the extensions and we can install some extensions for our project, like for Python related extension, which will help us to like highlight the content well. And we can have this auto doc string as well, which will help us to create doc string if we need. And for also like some auto completion or AI based support, you can even go for tab 9, okay, which I most frequently use it, and it's really actually helpful. Okay, and so these three things I will need. And next thing that you, let's say if you need any kind of theme, so you can, like I prefer monokai, so you can even use that as well. Okay, it's not mandatory for all of you, you can just use it if you want. So once it starts installing, it will ask you to select it. So I will just choose the monokai classic. Okay, and that's it. So these are the basic setup which is done for us. And so now let's get started with the project. So here, when you open this terminal, so the best part of this workspace is that it comes with Conda installed as well. So in order to use it, so you have to do a Conda init first, right? And so I will do that. And you can see it says that for changes to effect, close and reopen the current shell. So you will click on this delete button or trash can. Okay. And again, press control and then backtick on your keyboard to open it, or otherwise you can go here and open on terminal directly, right? So let me slightly zoom in as well. Now here we have the terminal open, and let me show you the file contents here, that what we have. So git ignore will be having all the things which in Python projects are there and which is not supposed to be there on GitHub and should not be committed to a public repository. So everything is present here, and that will be ignored by the git version control. Init setup.sh is actually, again, it is going to create a 3.8 version, 3.8 Python virtual environment, and it will install the requirements here. So it's nothing but it's a bunch of commands that is written here, okay, in sequential manner. So everything will be done for you automatically, because this is something which we keep on doing in almost every project. So that is why I created this one. Next, readme.md file will have all your readme content. So we can simply replace this with AsyncIO demo. Okay, and that's it. I will put it as of now. Next is requirements wise. Apart from this, we definitely need a few more requirements are there, and that is AIO, HTTP, and requests. AsyncIO is another library which is already comes up with the standard Python, so you don't have to install separately. And but this one is required, that is asynchronous input output HTTP. So it will help you to make an HTTP asynchronous request, okay, which we will see it in the demo. And request library is already there. This also is required, and that is for simply using a request library directly to download any content or any other method that you want, like get or put method if you want. So you can use this one. Now we will see the example of both of them. So till then, this is the basic update that we have right now. So let me commit the changes till this part. So I will add this to stage readme.md, and I will press I will write a command like update readme, and then requirements wise also, I will just simply say the updated requirements or REQ. Now, if I press Control Enter here directly, so it says that because I did not say put it into staged content, I directly committing. So it say that would you like to stage all changes and commit them directly? So yes, you can click on always, so that it will help you to commit like all the things, all the files which are present here directly. Now I will click on sync changes. Again, when I click on sync changes for the first time, it will ask that, okay, whether would you like to pull and push commits from origin or main, and that is good. Let's say if there is any other changes which is present, and if you're working in a group, so it will automatically, you should first of all pull and then push the changes. So yes, I will say, okay, don't show again. And once I sync the changes, it will again pop up. There one thing is popping up that, okay, would you like to Visual Studio Code to periodically run git fetch? So that is also fine, so that it can keep on fetching the latest changes in the repository if it is there. Okay, if you're working in the group, then it is fine. Otherwise, it's not a problem. So I will simply say that, okay, yes. Now we have the requirements ready, and we have the like basic file present here. So let's run this init setup.sh here. So I will simply write bash init setup.sh. So it will simply start creating the conda environment for me with Python 3.8 version, and it will also install the requirements into that particular environment. Now it says that, again, there will be a pop-up that we notice that your new environment has been created. Do you want select if as a workspace folder? So definitely say it yes. Okay, so that whenever you will open any file, it will automatically select this environment. Now I will create a new file here, which I will call as let's call this as a sync demo.py, and this is the first file that we have. Okay, so here I will simply go for a synchronous programming. Now it says, again, there is a pop-up, use the Pylint extension to enable easier configuration and new features and quick fixes. So this we can skip as of now. Okay, now so you can see that this setup is now finished here, and we can activate the environment. So for that, we can simply write conda activate .env /env, because we have installed it in your current working directory in env folder. So yeah, so you can see that this prompt has changed to this. Now let me close this terminal, and we will start focusing on this particular file. So let's get started with this sync demo. And in this example, see, we have to create one more file called as list of photo IDs, okay, where we will be storing all the photo IDs which we want to download it. Now, why we are mentioning photo IDs is because if you just, let's say if I show you one link, okay, so this is a link which is open. So here you will see there, these are the numbers, okay, this is common. This number is, this will be common in almost all, okay, this will be replaced and the rest of the URL will remain same. So I just captured this right here to download instead of putting entire this URL here in this text, right? So we will be using that, okay, and we will be replacing this value so that we will get different picture. So that is why we will keep this list of photo IDs here. And now in the sync demo, I have a boilerplate ready. So let me paste that. Yeah, so this boiler code is already ready. So here you will see that it's a module level doc string where I mentioned that, okay, it's a demo for a sequential way of downloading images from pixels.com, which is nothing but it's a very good website to download some stock photos which you can use in website without it's a royalty free. Okay, so it's a very good website. Next is like I have some bunch of imports here, that time to time our code, okay, and operating system and pathlib library for OS and path related operations. And then from timing, I'm using this list and optional classes. This is just for the type hinting, okay, which you can use it for the annotations here, right? And then request library to download the code, to download the images, right? Now we will be having two functions. Main function is here is a download all function, which will iterate through the list of photo IDs, and it will simply again call this function download file, okay, and for every photo ID, and it will simply download the file and save it in the directory. Okay, so you can see that in this is the first function that we have, that is download file, which will have a photo ID which is of type string. Then directory name, again it's of type string here, okay, which where the things will be downloaded, okay, or where the this code this images will be downloaded. Next is download all. So you can see it will have list of photo IDs, which is nothing but it's a list of strings, Okay, so that is why it is mentioned in that way. And then directory name, which is nothing but it's an optional, and it's of type string, so images01. Okay, it's an optional string here because you can override this always when you will be calling it this function, download all function. And both of these function will not return anything, right? And rest of the things are mentioned already here in the doc string, which is present here. Next is that we will be now calling this function from this, that is, this will be our entry point of this code. And so first of all, we will get the list of the photo IDs from this file, and then we will call the download all function. Okay, so let's get started here. So first thing first, so let's start with the getting the list of the photo IDs. So I think for that it's very simple, and we will simply open, okay, and the file that is list of photo IDs, and we will read it as an SF, okay, file here. And then we will get the photo IDs or list of photo IDs is equals to, we will go for f dot read lines, okay. But sometimes what happens when you copy the uh, when you read the line, so there will be new line character, and there will be sometimes spaces are present, so we will simply get rid of that by using list comprehension here. Okay, so we will simply iterate over this read lines, okay, which is going to be list of every line. So we will remove those extra spaces by calling line dot rstrip, okay, and for line in f dot read line. So in this way we will get the list of all the photo IDs. Okay, so we can print those lists just to check here that whether the code is working or not. Okay, so let me remove the pass statement at the end. So let's run this code for the first time. Okay, so let's open the terminal and let's write python sync demo01.py. It should be able to print all the, you can see all the photo IDs as a list. Okay, that means this thing is working right now. Yeah. So let me commit the changes till this part. Okay. So we have the list of photo IDs, and we have read the list of photo IDs. And now you can see that here it is also showing you settings, that is from the VS Code setting, that is also getting as a part of source control. So what we can do is we don't have to commit this, so we will put this into a git ignore file. So we will simply go to the, at the end we will write here that dot VS Code, and that's it. So it will be ignored. Okay, and we will call this as an update here, update get ignored. So this is done. Now let's call the download all functions. So to call the download all function, we will do the first of all we will, or we can simply call for download all function, where we will be passing the list of photo IDs, and directory name is going to be image01 itself. So we will not call that here, okay, because it's by default it is mentioned there, image01. And now before and after this, so we need to time this download all, right, because that's what what the aim for this tutorial. So we will have a start time here, okay, that is again time.time, which will start the timer, and then we will have the end time, and then we will also get the let's calculate the elapsed time. So it will be end time minus start time, and we will print the elapsed time, that okay, how much time is taken in seconds. So now, so before we run this code, let's start defining these two functions. Okay, so now, so first we will have to create the directories as well. So directory, we will be creating this directory name by this name, that is image01. If this is okay to true means that if it is already present, so don't give us, it will not give you an error. Okay, and then I will iterate through the photo IDs, and I will call the download file functions. Okay, dynamic to this, where we will passing the directory name as well as the photo IDs. Next, we will also have a print statement as well. So print downloaded, not downloaded here. We will simply write here that it's as a separator, so that you can see that everything happening properly. So it's like all the print statement will be separated by these 4 dash lines and the new line characters. So that's why we are using this. It's not mandatory. It's just to give you the print statements will be clearly like formatted, okay, when it will be printing. Now, so we are going to call this download file functions. Okay, so this is complete. Download all will be complete here. Now let's define the download file function. So here we will start with the try and except block. Okay, exception as exe, and we will print the exception. And we are not raising exception here because we don't want our code to stop if there is any exception for any specific URL. So there may be a possibility that, let's say, if photo IDs does not exist or something like that, so the URL will not be valid. So in that case, we can raise an exception, but it's not necessary that, okay, every file will be like that. So that's why I'm just printing the exception. Okay. And the good part will be to log the exception, but here, since it's a very small demo, so we are not doing that. Now let's have the URL defined first of all. So URL where we will be replacing all the photo IDs. So let me paste that URL here for you. Okay, it's a very long URL. We can see this photo ID will be replaced, okay, with the photo ID that you passed to it. So URL is now defined, and now we can have a print statement here that which says that we are downloading. So instead of saying downloading URL, we will be saying that downloading this photo dot jpeg. Okay, so this will be a unique photo name which we are going to download, and we will be defining the file path here. So file path of the this where the photos will be downloaded will be, it will be passed through this path class, and it will be inside the directory that we have named, and then photo id.jpg. Okay, so in this way we will define the file path name. Now what we will do is we will define the headers here. Okay, so headers, where this headers are nothing but which will be passed to the request library. Okay, so let me paste the headers here. So if you just read it here, so it says that user agent is nothing but it's Mozilla or Apple WebKit, or we have Chrome or Safari. So what does it say is that sometimes some website block the, let's say, Python request, direct request from the program. So they accept it from the, let's say, any of these browsers. So that is what it header says here. So header says that, okay, this request will be made through the browser. Okay, it will look like, but we are using Python here, but it will appear for the like for the website that, okay, this is coming from a browser. So that is why we are using this headers. And now what we will get is we will go for a request.get, and we will pass the URL and headers. Okay, and here you can also specify the timeout as well. So timeout means like how many seconds you want to wait till the timeout error occurs. So you can go for the timeout so that it will not wait for a longer time. So we will go for a time 10 seconds here. And now we will check that if the status code of this is 200 or not. Okay, that means if we got the outcome properly or not. That means, let's say if you open any website, okay, and if it opens easily, so there will be status code which will come up that is 200. That means that okay. Okay, and if there is a 404 error, that means the website not found, something like that. You may have heard about it. So we will check that. Okay, and then we will, if that is 200, then we will write the image file. Okay, we will write it as a byte. Okay, image file, and we will write image file dot write response dot content. We will be writing here, and we will also say that we have downloaded the photo id.jpg. That's it. So this completes our code. That means we are reading the list of photo IDs. We are calling download all, which will be iterating through the photo IDs, and it will be calling download file, which will be downloading the file, and it will be saving at the directory inside this image01 directory. Okay, so this is what the code looks like. Now let's try to run it, and let's see that, okay, how much time it takes. So again, let's open the terminal, make it slightly larger so that you can see, and then we can again run python sync demo01.py. So you can see that it took around 5.5365 seconds. But again, you can see here that it is printing so much of, there is the decimal values are like, it's large. Okay, so we can just shorten it out. So we can, in this elapsed time, we can mention that colon and then dot 4f. That means till 4 decimal places we will be taking the outcome, we will be printing the outcome. So let me rerun this again, and you can see that it is 0.322323 seconds. So it, like, okay, again, one thing is that it will keep on changing. Okay, so it depends upon your internet connection as well. Sometime it may take long time, short time, it depends. Now, so this completes our code, and one thing that you can see that here we have a lot of things to commit. Let's see that. Okay, you can see that this image01 folder got created, and there will be some files. You can see these are nothing but images of dogs. and this got downloaded successfully, but we don't want to commit this image 01. So what I will do is I will put again this into git ignore file, and I will say that images underscore 01, and same way we will do it for 02 as well, because that will also get created when we will go for the next that is asynchronous demo. Okay, so now let's commit the changes. We will say that sync demo complete. Let's add this file first, and then we will add this at images directory ignored, commit changes, sync the changes. So this was a very basic demo of synchronous way of downloading, or like sequential way of downloading the images, right? So now let's do some minimum changes into this one and make it synchronous. Oh, sorry, asynchronous. Okay, so why to wait for a file to get downloaded? Let's not, we can simply ping on to the next file and we will start that also, right? Because these downloading of files are not dependent on each other, right? We don't have to wait for the first file to download, finish the download, and then go to the second file. We can do this simultaneously. Okay, so same thing, we will use it for what we will do is I will simply copy paste this. Okay, copy the code and I will simply paste it here itself. So it will create a copy of it, and let me rename this. I will call this as async demo and 02, remove the copy part from the end, and that's it. So let me commit this as a base file. Now to make this work asynchronously, we will use two more this first of all, let's change this as well. So we will call it as the async way of downloading images from pixels.com, and we will import AsyncIO, which is an inbuilt standard Python library. And also we will import asynchronous input output HTTP. Okay, because requests will not work here, so I will just get rid of this. Okay, and now let's start making changes here. So let's start from the beginning itself. So here this line will remain same, and only thing that will change here is this one, because while downloading this if you directly download it, okay, this it will not work asynchronously, right? So we should pass this function call into AsyncIO dot run method. Okay, so now again, so this is one change, and then here these functions that you called here, it will now become async function. And here instead of calling like this, we will call this under async with AIO HTTP client session as session. So here we will be calling through is asynchronously. Okay, so we have to use this async here, and we have to use this context manager, and now we have to also pass this session, so that instead of request.get we can make a session.get. Okay, and so we will be using one more session and one more argument, that is session argument. And also we have to wait. Okay, await. So await here means that while this file is getting downloaded, let's get to the next request. Okay, so instead of waiting here, we will, so that is what await says, that okay, while the results are awaited, you can move on to the next download. So that is why it is very important, right? If you don't do this, it will not download it at all. Okay, you can try this later. So this is a minor change into this particular block of code here in download all method, download all function. And now since we have passed this session, so let's pass this. We have to make we have to create it here as well, and we have to define its type if you want. So since the type is nothing but its type is of this client session type, so we can pass it here just to annotate. And now in this, again in this function, we have to also again make it async. Okay, and URL and print this will remain same, and a few things is going to be changing, that okay, file path will also be remaining same, headers will also remain same, and this part, that is where we were going to get request target, will be changed. Okay, so now let's see okay how, and this print statement will be present here. So here we will write async with session.get URL header as a response. So here what happened, that instead of request.get, we are going to session get, and URL and then headers will be passed as it is, and response. The response is nothing but an alias for this one. And now we will open our file, and instead of like directly, you can, instead of directly writing them, what we will do is we will say async for chunk in response content dot iter chunk to 1024. That means, let's say if there is a size, the file size is bigger, so it will simply break it down into 1024 bytes. Okay, and it will keep on storing byte by byte. Okay, 1024 bytes. So in this way, it will make things faster, and then we will write this chunk into this particular file. Okay, so this iteratively, it is simply writing these bytes here using this iter chunk. So once it is done, so we can say that, okay, yes, the file is now downloaded, and I think that's it. So let's try to run this code and let's see the outcome. So instead of sync, we will call it as async demo. So you can see it's finishing in 19.916 seconds. Okay. And now let me just, again, let's try the sync demo first. So sync demo, let's see, okay, how much it is taking. So sync demo is taking 34.74 seconds. Okay. So let me go back to our README file, and we can simply say that sync demo time was this. Okay. And now again, let's run the async demo. So it took, see here, 0.1917 seconds. And this is async demo time. Okay, so now let's, one more thing you can see that it is, we forgot to change, is that we did not change this directory name here. So let's make it 02 so that it will be stored into another file. Okay, another folder itself. So you can see that this particular folder got created and it is taking the same 19 seconds, whether close to 0.919 seconds, and whether if you go to sync demos, it is taking larger time, it is around 31 seconds. So that is the good difference here, you can see. And it can also change based on your system, your internet connection, this can change, but definitely you can see that async demo time is actually faster, right? So that's the good part of it. So I hope you have learned something new. Okay, and let me show you the difference also. Let's say if I go to async demo, so you can click on this button, that is source control button, and if you click on async demo, and you can see that, okay, what changes that has been done from the uh, like previous file. So you can see that I have added async, I have added these two libraries, and all the things that I have, changes I have made, you can visually see it. Okay, and that will give you a good grasp that, okay, what are the things that you can change to make things asynchronous. But again, it depends upon project to project, but for this projects you can clearly see that, okay, what changes I have done. So let me commit these changes, and I will write here that async demo completes, and demo time recorded. Okay, so you can make this slightly better if you want, and you can make this as a part of a table and you can present it here. So that's that, I will leave it up to you. So now let's look into the our repository here and then refresh it. So you should see the changes that I have made. Okay, all the changes are present here, and definitely you can update this README file here so that you can get the proper representation of it. Okay, now so that's it for the demo, for async IO demo, and I hope you have learned a lot from this, and you will try to utilize this to make your maybe web scraping faster, okay, or image download or something like that faster, and make use of asynchronous IO or async programming, Python programming, and make your code run faster, right? So that's it for the demo, and see you in the next time. Till then, keep on learning and keep on exploring. Thank you.